Hello everyone, this is Mary Madden with Berkshire Associates. I'm here with Andrea Csordas to bring you a webinar on developing a successful recruiting framework. This webinar is based on a live workshop-style presentation that Andrea recently did for a small group of participants. And you did that presentation live, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll be working through some hands-on activities during this presentation, and we're kind of going to translate them into a virtual format for everybody who's sitting on the webinar today. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about Andrea before she begins the presentation. She is an HR consultant here at Berkshire. She's a member of SHRM, and she has almost a decade of experience dealing with a wide variety of HR issues. She has her MS in HR, and she writes articles for various HR professional publications. Thanks, Andrea, for giving this presentation today, and let's get right to it.
Thank you, Mary. So we are going to talk about the successful recruitment processes. And why is it important? Believe it or not, it's a question of success or failure for your organization. And we are going to talk about why and how. This webinar is about using recruitment as a strategic tool to help you achieve your corporate goals. And also, we are going to talk about developing a comprehensive recruitment process that will help you find the talent you need. So what is recruitment? The traditional definition of recruitment is finding that applicant who is suitable for the job. The modern approach, the modern definition is a little bit more than that. In the modern approach, we are finding and hiring the best qualified candidate, and within that, we are basically analyzing the job just to make sure that we are hiring the right individual. We want to know what that job needs, what the skill set that individual who we will hire into that role will need. Recruiting also includes attracting job seekers, which could be as simple as job advertisements. It also includes screening and selecting applicants, the hiring itself, and then after hiring, we still have to integrate the new hire to our organization. So what is it that you currently do out of these 16 items when it comes to recruiting?
And so this is where Andrea has the participants check off what they are currently doing as part of their recruiting process. And we just put up a sample here for you. As you can see, one of our participants was participating in about 6 different activities here, and each of those answers is scored with a 1-point value.
Yes, and then this participant with the 1 point, overall with the 6 points, is basically making a great effort. If you looked at these items and you selected about 4, that's a good start. If you selected somewhere between 9 and 12, you're almost there. And if you got more than that, then it's definitely a successful approach you have. And keep the good work, keep up the good work. So we are going to first look at aim, approach, and achieve. And what we are aiming for is what we want to know the skill set that is needed for an individual to be successful in that job. Then our approach, how are we going to get there? This is not going to be your typical webinar here today. Feel free to stop or pause the webinar itself and think about the answers you may have to certain questions. This is how this webinar will be the most beneficial to you and to your organization. So we are going to identify current barriers to these successful processes, and we are going to begin developing a process that is specific to your organization and its needs, and also attract the right talent. So think about the following questions. What do you expect to achieve once you complete this workshop? What personal benefits are you looking to gain? And how will a better recruitment process help support your company objectives? So for example, you can say, I'm hoping to gain more knowledge about strategic recruitment and best practices. I'm looking to be more organized when it comes to recruitment and manage the process better. And better hiring in the beginning means less work at the end by reducing high turnover and gaining better productivity. So we are going to introduce here a recruitment framework. What do you think the benefits are going to be of a recruitment framework? And here are a couple of benefits. For example, consistent practices. Consistency is important, especially when it comes to HR. You can actually avoid potential lawsuits or defend your case. A structure is if once you put structure around your process, then it will streamline processes and it will reduce confusion, which means everybody knows what to do or what's the next step in the process. It will create efficiency and organization. A structure is needed. It doesn't matter what size of your organization is or what industry you are in. This is about good business practices and working efficiently to get the hire you need to move your business forward. So this is how our recruitment framework looks like. We are going to review these 7 items, starting with the corporate goals. Your recruitment practices should be aligned with your corporate goals. And you want to think about what are those goals that you have. Are you trying to grow your business? Are you going for product innovation? Or you just simply want to retain your current customers? You want to think about what is the skill set that you will need to be able to achieve your goals. Then next, we are going to talk about the gap analysis. And the gap analysis is very simple. You have an existing set of skill set, and you have something that you need that you just don't have. So in between, you have that gap, and that's what we are going to analyze. First, you want to identify all the skills required by an individual to be able to do his or her work. Then, if it is possible, to identify the critical and non-critical talent skills. Sorry, then it is possible to identify critical and non-critical skills. That would be wonderful. The critical skills are the required skills that are the minimum to complete a task, and the non-critical skills obviously are those that you can still complete the task. But you may not be as efficient or effective. You may not be able to get the job as quickly as had you had those non-critical skills. So by performing a skill gap analysis, you will be able to avoid the skill gap crisis. If you need a skill set today but you don't have, if you have a good skill gap analysis, then you will be able to prepare for those missing skill sets, that gap, and you will be able to fill those gaps quickly. You will be also able to manage hiring risks. You will be able to fine-tune your selection process. So once you have a pool of applicants who have the critical skills, you just want to narrow it down and see who has those non-critical skills that could be very, very important for that job as well. Knowing the skills you need but you don't have, you're basically setting a benchmark, and you can use this information to measure your success in terms of organizational value and contribution to success. It may mean it may affect your bottom line, revenue, innovation, efficiency, and leadership. So let's take a look at your organization and think about the goals that you have. For example, here you see that the increased sales was a goal of this organization. And the skills that they needed for this is sales expertise, account management, and prospecting. So what you want to do is just maybe pause here and just write down those goals that you have and what are the skill sets that you may need to achieve those goals. Next, we are going to look at needs assessment. And needs assessment is important before you start any change effort. You want to know where you are at the beginning. By investing some time and energy to discover your strengths and weaknesses, to explore trends, and to just hear from diverse viewpoints, you will be in a better position to identify and prioritize where you want to make changes. So here are some suggestions for getting started on assessing your recruitment and retention needs. You want to see if you have any available survey results. What is the employment type of the job you're trying to fill? Is it going to be a full-time or a part-time position? What is the reporting structure? Who is this individual going to report to? Are they going to report to a manager or an individual who has never supervised anybody? That can be a very important question. The job requirements. What are those minimum qualifications that this job will require? What is the budget that you have available? And who is going to be responsible for each task throughout the process?
So it seems like this type of checklist would be different for every organization and vastly different depending on what type of industry you're in. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it will also be different just by just looking at by jobs. Each job is going to have different needs that will fulfill what you will what you want with this job. So, for example, here, think about a position. And our example is a salesperson. So you want to think about these questions. Are survey results available? And survey results could be prior data. What worked last time in your previous recruitment? What were those skills that needed? How many vacancies you had? What were the costs maybe? Also, you want to, again, think about the employment type, the reporting the reporting structure, what are the minimum requirements, the budget, and who will be responsible for that task. So feel free to answer these questions, and again, pause this recording right here. Next, we are going to talk about employer branding, and it is very important. And we will talk about it why. First, let's take a look at what is employer branding. Employer branding is really becoming an employer of choice. It is about attracting, engaging, and retaining your employees. So let's talk about next. You just want you have to know who you are. The employer brand is really your employer identity. An employer identity is equals to your vision, your values, the products and services, and the people. So is your brand attracting the right talent?
So basically we're talking about finding a person who has a disposition and a work style that matches the employer's overall style of work.
Exactly, exactly. Ultimately, employer branding creates a more productive workforce and just a positive workplace. So you want to create it as positive as possible. So where do you think branding is used in recruitment? Here are a couple of options or answer options. This list again is not complete by any means. I'm pretty sure you can add some more to it. But overall, employer branding is used in job postings, in social media, in referral programs. And then once the individual is hired into the organization, in your new hire materials you can include it, or in onboarding and orientation. So let's take a look at a recruitment video, McDonald's, and its challenges. It's basically a short video that I just want you to take a look at it or review it and take notes and answer these questions. What are their challenges? Who are they trying to appeal to? And what are they trying to tell potential candidates?
All those years at school for this? a job? It's McDonald's. You can do better than that. I can work my way up, make a real go of it. Oh, yeah? Slave labour, selling burgers. It won't be like that. What's Mel doing, people will ask? Yeah, and she's frying chips at McDonald's. It's not like that. You don't know what you're talking about. Why aren't you happy for me? You should be pleased that I've got a job. It's you, isn't it? Yes. What's your problem with me? Be embarrassed by What should be pleased? I really want us to work. Calm down. What does she know anyway? Yeah. But it is McDonald's. I'll get these. First day. What have I let myself in for?
Just going to show you the what kind of app. Jamie. After that. Let's make a cool kind of cheese. It's your first one, so after that you should be fine.
Been here a month now. Swap shift for next week. Manager cool about it. Going to see Green Day.
Small stuff. See how you've done. I think you've done very well. Yeah.
Hiya! What? Whatever you're on in there, is there any left? Shut up, come on. I'm going to teach you how to use the train station. 3 different types of trucks, small, medium and large. Medium Mum still feels the same. They don't get paid for it, they're just trying to make a difference. Got better things to do than watch some kids pick up litter.
Yeah, that's like a blooming change. I've come in here, I've killed up, got a burger that's fairly warm, his daughter's over there on her own, her food's not warm.
Oh, that shouldn't have happened. I'm really sorry. Just I tell you what, go back down and sit with her, and I'll bring you back straight away.
I can trust you, yeah.
Absolutely, I'm really sorry, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So what did we see here today? What are McDonald's challenges in recruitment?
It does seem like they feel that they have a negative view as an employer. As we saw from the young lady's mother kind of giving her a hard time at the beginning, and her girlfriend saying, it is McDonald's after all.
Yeah.
And it looks like they are trying to give a more positive outlook on what people can do when they work at McDonald's.
Right. And so they are trying to appeal to
younger folks, I guess, who want to make a career for themselves and grow as adults.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what they're trying to tell potential candidates, that if you come and work here and you do a good job, you can move up in your career pretty quickly. So this is just one type of employer branding. Again, it's really, it depends on your organization. So you want to think about what your organization's strengths and weaknesses, and how you can highlight the strengths to attract the right talent. And with that, we are going towards our attract and source or item in our recruitment framework. And first, I wanted to talk to you about the pull versus push theory. With the pull, we are attracting so the job seekers want information because they want to work for your organization, because you're doing a really good job with good employer branding. And then with sourcing, you are the one who have to go out and find that qualified job seeker. So in many situations, it could happen that a really an entry-level job is filled with someone who is highly skilled, experienced professional, because the organization does such a good job with employer branding that the employee just wants to work for that organization. But then you also have to kind of keep a balance, because sometimes these are going to be the individuals who will leave your organization first. So you want to make sure that you are targeting and attracting those candidates who will be a good fit for your organization. So the talent with the attract phase, the talent seeks the information. You want to provide them the good employer image. This is where you want to think about where you are going to post your jobs. What are your job postings will include. You want to create a plan for your advertisement, job advertisements. And you want to make sure that your job descriptions are clear and they really represent the job that you are looking to fill. Then in the sourcing phase, here you want to think about the perception of your organization, your strengths and weaknesses. How is your current employees how do they think about your organization, and what is the perception of your organization by prospective employees. You want to understand your target audience. Who is it that you are trying to attract and source into your organization? You want to think about your organizational personality and identity. So that way it's going to be easier to determine who will be that good fit. You want to know your marketplace. You want to know who is available out there. And then at the end of our recruitment framework, we are just combining these two items, the managing risks and measuring. So first, let's take a look at risk management. And with recruitment, there could be many risks involved, such as hiring an unqualified candidate. So if you did not analyze your job ahead of time at the beginning of the process, you may hire someone into that role who doesn't have the qualifications that they need to be able to be successful in that role. The job mismatch also, you just hire someone who really shouldn't be in that role. The costs could be also risk factors. There are some legal risks. Think about the EO implications or just negligent hiring. For example, if you hire someone who you knew or should have known that they had had a criminal record, how's that going to affect your organization? And then also the reputation. Your recruitment practices, believe it or not, will affect your reputation. So for example, if you have a candidate who applied for a position, they had the basic qualifications, and then you just stop considering them for some reason and you never let them know, that candidate will always think of your organization a little bit bitter. She's going to be bitter about it. Like, they never even bother to send me back a response that I'm not qualified or they don't want me there. And then also you want to think about the measurement. Measurement is really important because it can give you some ideas for the future about what you should do different, what you have done well. So you want to first think about or look at where are those qualified candidates coming from? What were those sources that worked and what were those sources that didn't work? You want to gather feedback from managers and supervisors. What do they think? Was it a good recruitment? Was it a good pool as far as whoever you presented them as as qualified candidates? You want to think about short-term and long-term effects of your recruitment. A short-term is a little bit easier to measure because that's what was the average time that you needed to find a qualified applicant. What was the selection rate of applicants? What was the cost per applicant hired? What was the quantity and the quality of those applicants? And the long term is a little bit difficult because you just need more time. For example, what is the performance of those hires? What is the turnover rate? What is the absenteeism rate? And then last but not least, you want to think about your leadership. Whenever you try to implement a new process, you always want to look for leadership commitment. Because if they are not on board with this, you may have a lost cause. So you want to target those who understand the concept, those who can influence others. They are strong influencers. And you want to make sure that you have the facts together, you have a business case, and you can support that with actual numbers. And you want to highlight the benefits that it's going to mean to the organization as a whole. Collaboration is also important. Without that, you are not going to be able to create a successful recruitment practice. So all these different departments or areas within your organization have to come together to create that recruitment framework. HR, marketing, employee relations, communication. So use this framework as your guide to create your own customized recruitment framework. We assure you that your results will support your overall organizational goals if you follow a structure like this.
Thank you, Andrea. That's great information, and I hope that all of our folks who are watching our webinar today were able to participate in a virtual way. If you would like more information about recruiting and applicant tracking, you can find that on our website, berkshireassociates.com/resources. And you can give Andrea or me a call here at Berkshire at the number you see on your screen, or you can send us an email with any questions that you might have. Thank you for attending today, and we look forward to working with you in the future.